We got your chain, big bro.
Vaughn is then asked if he is carrying anything that might get him into trouble. Vaughn then jokes that he is not used to being tackled, and he is too much of a grown man to be treated like this.
He said
I seen you. I had to get you out the way quickly.
What's that?
And there has been leaked footage of him saying some of the most insane things ever. 2016 jail arrest. The first piece of footage we have on King Von takes us back to 2016, long before King Von even started rapping. In an interview with Eyes, Von explained how he spent many important moments of his early life in jail.
I got in trouble early, 15 years old. That's so I ain't never been grown until like right now, because I've been in jail. All the times where it really counted, like, you know, like I ain't graduate high school, all the other shit. So when it was time for me to step up, I was already in jail. 15
was when he first got caught by the police. But when pressed about when he started crime, he said,
I don't know. I just woke up one day, I was bad as hell. I don't know what the f***.
King Von was largely a product of his own environment and grew up in the infamous O Block, one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in Chicago. It was through growing up here that he became involved with the Chicago gang, the Black Disciples, or BDs. You might also know this was also the place where other rappers such as Chief Keef, Lil Reese, and Fredo Santana grew up too. For Von, it was his friendship with Lil Durk, who was not from the O Block but affiliated with people from the neighborhood, who would later mentor him into becoming the rap star that he became. Von, whose real name was Davon Daquan Bennett, was dubbed King Von because he reminded the BDs of King David, the founder of the BDs. In an interview, Von said, "When I was in jail, I got the name Grandson because I reminded people of King David. The older guys in jail, guys who were around when David was around, would call me that because I carried myself like him. King David was a legendary figure and a guy everybody looked up to. He ran the streets with his own morals and his own code, and that's the code I live by too. That's why people call me Grandson." One of his earliest crimes was armed robbery, and a lot of the charges that were hit against him as a minor were dropped because of his age, and that he would learn his lesson by attending a boot camp. In 2012, King Von turned 18 and was no longer a minor, but clearly he was still embroiled in street life, so much so that one affiliate, Tay Capone, said that shootings were just part of his life.
In 2012, everybody couldn't hang with Von. Like, if you was hanging with Von, you had to accept everything that came with Von. You had to accept that you was going to be in shootings, accept that it was going to be that, and you had to be with it.
Fast forward to 2016, and Von was in jail, where he was believed to have been jailed in connection with the fatal shooting of Malcolm Stuckey. And even behind bars, he was still a dangerous man to mess with. This CCTV footage showed Von and another inmate attacking someone, and this is when a correctional officer is standing right in front of them. Von and the other inmate began punching him several times. This is when a correctional officer is standing right in front of them. Von and the other inmate began punching him several times. Thankfully, the fight was broken up before things got too ugly, and Von was put back in handcuffs. Von then does an interview with a prison officer afterward.
Can you tell me what happened?
I got maced.
Why'd you get maced?
I was in the hallway.
You was in the hallway.
Barbershop, hit the corner. Who makes this shit? I don't know. Somebody makes it.
They just maced you for no reason?
As I'll show you later on in this video, Von will have the same mindset wherever he is being interviewed or questioned by police. CCTV footage shows him running over to attack someone, yet he hasn't the faintest idea why he was maced. It's not clear who Von and the other guy were in a fight, but Von has revealed in his music how common these fights can be. In the song How It Go, he raps, "Now you locked in a room, you just plotting while you doing push-ups. You better check on your bro, cause the on the news came in, said he heard he got smoked." As you'll see later on, Von will always infer that the police are treating him too harshly, and will always have some tricks up his sleeve. 2017 jail arrest. The next piece of footage comes from a year later in 2017, and it's clear that King Von was not looking to get out of prison for good behavior. In fact, he was involved in yet another fight. This insane CCTV footage shows Von getting up to his old tricks again. At first, he walks over to another inmate and says something to him. Von then walks back to where he was and moves towards another inmate. He starts confronting this person, who is now hiding behind another person. Eventually, Von starts throwing punches. This guy is now on the ground, but Von is still going at him. None of the other inmates are helping to break break this off, and there is not much that they can do since they are all still in
They
cuffs.
all
King Von has somehow managed to pull off
bullpen.
some Houdini
All
trick
how
and
the
rid
fuck?
himself of his cuffs. One inmate, however, seems to be trying to kick the door open to help the guards. The COs catch wind of what's happening and Vaughn is arrested. As well as the CCTV, there is also body cam footage of an officer who arrived on the scene.
Good? Okay, get him, take him down there then. Take him this way, take him this way, take him this way.
Vaughn is asked what happened, and just like before, he's not going to admit to punching a guy several times.
What happened, man? Just now?
Vaughn is then asked how he got out of his cuffs.
How'd you get out of your cuffs? How'd you get out of your cuffs? How'd you get out of your cuffs? You thought you were still in them? Are you double jointed?
In this interview, he remains incredibly tight-lipped and refuses to say anything.
Detainee Bennett, Davon, ID number 2014-0608061. Also involved in the battery and Division 9 holding. Mr. Bennett, explain what happened? You refusing to give a statement?
That's my statement right there.
Getting information from Vaughn was like trying to get blood from a stone.
Mr. Bennett stating that he did not do anything. Anything else you want to add? Do you have any injuries? This was in my interview with Detainee Bennett, Davon.
The person Vaughn punched was allegedly a guy named 051 Freaky and a member of a rival gang in Chicago. The attack apparently stems from the victim having a tattoo, which read, Capone, who was a close friend of Vaughn's. He even did a radio interview from prison and was asked if the tattoo was the source of tension between the two. He said,
Everybody know that. Oh, we know that.
to put this into context, here is the tattoo that Vaughn had in memory of L.A. Capone. The L.A. does not stand for Los Angeles, but Leonard Anderson so, which was his actual game. Capone is in reference to the notorious Chicago gangster Al Capone. L.A. was a budding rapper and on the verge of being signed to Lil Durk's label OTF, but he was killed by members of 051 Young Money in September 2013. He was also close friends with Lil Yachty, so who knows where his career could have gone. It's alleged that L.A. was targeted because he was falsely claiming the death of 051 member Fats. So for 051 Freaky to have a tattoo insulting a recently deceased friend, you can perhaps understand the anger he felt. There is even footage of Freaky after
So LA got hit because he false claimed the body? Is that what he just said?
the incident. He seems okay, but is obviously annoyed that he was beaten by a guy.
Hello?
Did you lock the bottom line?
Without cuffs.
I'm saying though, Von, why I'm cuffed up?
When questioned by the police that he was beaten by a guy without cuffs.
I'm saying though, Von, why I'm cuffed up?
When questioned by the police, he was a lot more reserved.
Mr. Howard, in all words, explain what happened?
Slight incident. It's nothing. It's nothing.
During this time, Vaughn never mentioned that he wanted to become a rapper. Another 051 member, Kiddo said.
Did he ever mention that he would blow up in rap? Did he ever tell you he was going to try to do the rap thing?
Hell no, man. I don't know f***ing rapper, man. Hell no, bro. That's a pride.
Wasn't that his
While
silly or
these
some shit
videos
like
make
that?
Vaughn look out to be quite a tough guy, the next video paints him in a less flattering light and is doing something which is arguably against the prison code. Others see it as a clever way of finessing the system, but this is probably the video that King Von and his crew don't want you to see. 2017 gay arrest. In November 2017, we see an incredibly fascinating interview. Vaughn is about to be sent to a new dorm, but this dorm contains a number of his ops. He feels like he will be in danger by moving to that cell, so is put in an extremely difficult situation. There are seemingly two options here. The first option is that Vaughn can tell the police that he is afraid of these cellmates and does not want to live with them. This could be deemed as snitching and could end up making things much worse for them. The second option is to live inside the same room as people who want him killed and basically take whatever was coming to him. But believe it or not, there is a third option.
Because of your sexual orientation, you're requesting protective custody, is that correct? They got a problem too.
This was not Vaughn coming out of the closet. It was his attempt to pretend to be gay to protect himself. This does two things.
That
Firstly,
shit
it allows Vaughn
kept
to
his ass
escape living
alive.
with his ops. But secondly, he does not snitch on them or admit to being part of a gang. He is gay, and the people inside the dorm are devout Christians. The police probably know that he is lying, but being gay is a protected characteristic in prison, and there's nothing they can do about it. But he at least plays up to his character.
Bye, little Josh.
It's unclear whether the ops he was hiding from were directly related to fights mentioned before. Ken Vaughn is seen shouting, "Bye, Lil Josh," which could be referring to Lil Josh from the LA phase. Needless to say, Vaughn made himself a lot of enemies in prison. While the police know he is lying, he is probably doing the police a favor by lying about this, because separating Vaughn from these other people will avoid any violent incidents. Vaughn was finessing the system, but it probably suited everyone that he did not end up in that dorm. This footage caused a lot of controversy. Whack 100 was particularly outspoken and says that the rules are that when you are in prison, you never ask for protective custody, even if it could save your life. Whack was a previous member of the Bloods and spent time in prison. During his stint behind bars, there was a code you had to follow, and it was never an option for someone to ask to go into protective custody or PC.
PC means PC. You do not go PC.
Okay, remove the PC thing.
There's no removing it.
But say Vaughn had just said, "I'm gay, I can't be in that dorm."
I'm not
trying to
playing
get
like
into a
that
different
either.
dorm.
For Whack 100, he should not have gotten into this situation if he did not want to suffer the
that shit.
consequences.
What if he knew he would be dead in 5 minutes if he went in there?
Listen, man, listen. He knew the job was dangerous when he took it. Don't be doing nothing on the street you ain't ready to face when you got to go behind them bars.
Whack 100 gives the example of how Muslims will not eat.
Bro, he just be talking, gang. Like, I'm tired of seeing these old niggas on these interviews that ain't got shit to talk about, just be bringing up shit. Like, they just be talking, gang. That shit annoying, bro.
Pork under any circumstance.
Like, everybody want to do interviews,
that they stick
bro,
to no matter what.
Like, all the interviews is just niggas. Like, all interviews is just, bro, niggas that ain't got shit to do or talk about speaking on other niggas, bro. Like, why is they don't even talk about females, bro? They strictly talk about niggas, bro. And it's a drum right here, bro.
It's like a Muslim hungry
50.
and it's a pepperoni pizza right there. He can't eat that under any circumstances.
But many people have come back in Vaughn's defense. No Limit Cairo wrote that King Von is obviously not gay, said, "Y'all know my boy trolling to get put on another deck stop, that capping." THF Zoo, who is on the OTF label, also wrote, "I don't see this part of the video on the blogs, though. Y'all try so hard to tarnish bro's name, knowing he is one of the realest. If you've been in that county, you know you can't move nowhere once you on the decks unless you're half dead or requesting PC. Vaughn never landed in the PC the whole stay, and I witnessed it. Even a rival gang member from 051 just saw it as funny."
I don't know, I'm like, he's funny as hell. But
You thought he was trolling?
yeah, he was trolling for sure. He was trolling for sure.
Yeah.
Cause that's how motherfuckers get moved. They want to go. Like he feel like him know how the county go. So he know how to get to the next place he want to get to.
He goes on to say that you can't simply ask to keep separate from certain inmates, and they decide where you're going. So for Vaughn, this was the only way of staying away from that dorm. And the next piece of footage is a bit more interesting. Vaughn is another year older, and this time out of prison. 2018 O-Block arrest. By February 2018, Vaughn was a free man, but clearly he was still up to his old tricks. The footage begins inside a police car. The police officer gets out of the car and walks towards the scene. Eventually, we see a man in handcuffs who has the same wavy dreadlocks we know to be belonging to King Vaughn. Curiously, there is snow on the floor, yet this person is wearing a t-shirt. The officer who has him cuffed says,
So it's this gentleman we were chasing, but on video they went back, went under the cars where we think he ditched it, got in the vehicle, we stopped the vehicle, get him out, battery, fight with that, vehicle takes off on us, and we got this, and then we get about 50 people around us. So
if you were in any doubt that it's King Vaughn in this video, we finally get to hear him speak.
you're gonna go to jail for battery to a police officer.
Why?
Me?
While this is happening, one of Vaughn's friends is filming everything in case the police try to get out of line.
And you also,
What at?
thank you very much. We'll take it then.
King Vaughn then starts joking with the officer. Apparently it is Valentine's Day and he needs to get home.
I go home, it's Valentine's Day.
You got the plate number since you got it on tape, man? Oh, you don't have that?
King Vaughn is incredibly calm and composed
You
despite
talking about
being
you got the plate numbers? You had it on? Set your bitch ass up,
Oh,
man.
you don't have that?
King Vaughn is incredibly calm and composed despite being arrested by the police. And his jokes about Valentine's Day gave the impression that this guy was relatively harmless. But the police officers had to completely reassess the situation with his response to this question.
Well,
you locked up for?
Body to a tilt. I'm sorry? You're going to want to cuff him in the back.
Yes.
He's a body.
Completely
He talking about some. He said, "Excuse me, what?"
reassess the situation with his response to this question.
He said, "Body into a tilt."
Body to a tilt. I'm sorry? You're going to want to cuff him in the back.
Yes.
He's all kinds of fun.
Officers were stunned. He just casually said that he was in jail for a murder and 2 attempted murders. The police officer tries to help him and lets him know that he's being filmed. They are almost dumbfounded by his behavior and how he would just blurt that out in front of the 2 officers.
You're on video right now, man.
It's cool.
When Vaughn is told that he is under arrest, he
Didn't he
simply
beat his
says,
charges,
"No,
though?
I'm not."
Now I'm not under arrest.
Yes, you are.
For what? Huh?
Probably trespass over here
I
and hitting the guy.
Hitting who?
Then we realized that King Vaughn initially did have a coat on.
Where's your coat?
He asked him, man. The super cop.
Where's his coat?
By now, the cops are pretty much fed up with King Vaughn's antics. They even let his cheeky comment about asking the super cop slide. Vaughn was later released and said that the police had it out for him because he managed to beat these charges.
Yeah, that's definitely what that is. Because a battery and what did he say? Hitting the, I don't know.
King Von. He was inspired by the success of Lil Durk and decided to follow in his footsteps.
You could just tell how thirsty he got when he said he had a body and 2 attempts. Like you could just, he said, "Wait, what?" He said, "Yeah, we're gonna have to put him in the back of the truck." He's all kind of funny.
He signed to Durk's OTF label and released his first single, Crazy Story, towards the end of the year. And King Von was surprisingly talented at music. He had been rapping for a short space of time and suddenly blew up. He stood out from other drill rappers through his storytelling, where his songs told a full story, much like old school rappers like Slick Rick, Scarface, and Biggie Smalls. But as his talent started to get noticed, King Von did not know how to hold his tongue. And even as his rap career progressed, he was still saying stuff that could incriminate him. Lil Durk brought King Von onto the Breakfast Club and had to cough to tell him to keep his mouth shut.
When you get to that line, have you ever been convicted of?
You can start making.
Have you no experience is doing nothing. I ain't. Word.
For the first time in his life, there was a pathway that could lead him away from the street life he led. But clearly, King Von either could not or chose not to forego this life. 2019 Atlanta attempted murder arrest. During the early hours of the morning on February 5th, 2019, King Von, Lil Durk, and Bezu were involved in an argument outside of a popular restaurant in Atlanta known as the Varsity. They were arguing with a man named Alexander Weatherspoon, who was a member of the Vice Lords gang. Soon the verbal disagreement escalated, and a total of 13 shots were fired. Weatherspoon was witnessed to have collapsed in front of the One Cigar Lounge by other people during the night. 3 months later, King Von was scheduled to perform a concert in Chicago, but instead, this gig was canceled. The police knew that King Von would be paying a trip back to his old neighborhood, and the O Block was raided by a huge swarm of police officers. Footage emerged of him being tackled down, and his friends claiming that the police were trying to steal his chain. The cops were even carrying assault rifles to keep the crowd at bay.
Yeah, they was already on that.
Stay on the ground. Gang. Just don't resist. Don't resist.
Gang, why y'all grabbing? What the wrong with y'all?
The police seemed to have taken hold of his chain.
Hey, let's get my money, my face. Hold on.
I got it.
Vaughn is then taken to the station. The police officer points out that he has been disrespectful.
You've dealt with worse. We got your chain, baby.
Vaughn is then asked if he is carrying anything that might get him into trouble. Vaughn then jokes that he is not used to being tackled, and he is too much of a grown man to be treated like this.
He's
then the
talking
police
about
the cancel concert. In fact, they even argued that Vaughn canceled it. Vaughn is then asked if he has any weed.
You don't know weed, nothing?
Then Vaughn starts joking with the police. He mentioned how much his hoodie costs and can then be seen cracking jokes with the person who tackled him.
Yeah, I had to, man. I had to. I seen you. I had to get you out the way quickly.
That's actually easy.
Yeah.
But they did explain why they took his chain. They simply thought that if they did not take it, someone else would have.
At the same time, though, when you get into custody, people that be your mans want to, especially if you drop some on the ground, you might never see it again. They're your boys.
After his arrest, Lil Durk also turned himself in. Soon afterward, Durk managed to get himself out on a $250,000 bond, whereas King Von had to cough up $300,000 for his release. Von was on house arrest for this supposed shooting, and a year later, something happened which meant that Von would never have to face these charges.
GBI, rapper King Von and his group were at Opium nightclub before making their way here to Monaco Hookah Lounge, then to the parking lot where chaos ensued.
It was yet another altercation that Von was involved in.
6 men shot, King Von and 2 others